Merrimack TV content may no longer be available on YouTube. To continue watching our programs, please download the Merrimack TV app from your device's app store. Programs may also be available at merrimacktv.com.
Good. All right. Good. Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Merrimack Planning Board July 15th, 2025 meeting. Just a reminder, anybody that happens to approach the microphone, please make sure that the green light is on, state your name, and the next meeting will be August 5th at 6:30 p.m. in the Matthew Thornton room, which is this room. If everybody could please join me in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Housekeeping first? Yeah. Understood. All right. Just for everyone, so that I don't waste anybody's time, some items will be continued to a later date. The Tinker Road and John O'Neill is going to be continued until August 19th. The 376 Daniel Webster Car Wash will be discussed to be continued on August 5th, and the Mass Road LLC will be discussed to continue to August 19th. So if anybody's here for those, I don't want to waste anyone's time this evening. All right. Oh, yeah. All right. Is there anything on the consent agenda, Amanda, that I need to know, or we need to know?
There's nothing that you would need to know. You are just looking at the Mass Road application for the consent agenda, and it's straightforward.
Thank you, Amanda. All right. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right. Is there a second?
I second.
I'm going to give it to John this time, Nelson.
Go ahead.
You get the next one.
Go for it.
All right. Oh, I didn't put either of you in. But we have a full board. Okay. All right. Hang for a bit. All right. Motion made by Karen, seconded by... Oh, I'm sorry, Amanda.
You do have to seat someone, one of the alternates for, you probably have to seat both Lynn and Nelson. For
Ooh, I'm forgetting someone.
the missing seat for Bob and the missing seat for,
My apologies. Who's the other one?
You're alternate too. Oh, so you've got three
I have
alternates
three.
to choose from. So you
But
can
only need
pick
one?
Two.
You need
pick
two.
We have two.
I have an
vacant
empty seat?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, everyone. All right. I'm going to put Nelson in for Bob and Justin in for the empty seat. All right. So there was a motion made by Karen and seconded by John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 0, 0. 7? Oh, Lynn, you don't count.
No, I don't count.
Sorry.
They never count.
All right. First item on the docket is Chris Toft and SC Development LLC. Review for acceptance and consideration of a site plan to construct a 60-unit elderly 55-plus housing development with associated site improvements. The parcel is located at 29 Bedford Road in the R4 Residential Bisoils Aquifer Conservation District and Wellhead Protection Area. The tax map is 6D Lot 241, Case Planning Board 2025-14, and this item has been continued from May 20th, 2025. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Matt Peterson with East Northern Associates, here tonight representing the 29 Bedford Road
Matt,
project.
is your mic on?
No, it is not.
Slipping. Again, good evening, Matt Peterson with Keach Nordstrom Associates, here representing...
Matt, hold on one second. They can't hear anything?
Matt, pull it closer.
Is it closer?
It's on.
I know. There you go.
Try that.
Now we're good.
All right. Good evening, Matt Peterson, Keach Nordstrom Associates, for the proposed 29 Bedford Road and project in front of the board here tonight. With me tonight is the applicant, Chris Toffey. Did I say that right or wrong? Close enough?
Yep. Oh, you're good.
As was stated here, we were here in front of the board on May 20th, 2025 to get the acceptance for the project and present the project to the board at that time. Since that hearing, we received town review comments from Fuss O'Neill. Actually, we got them the day of the last meeting on May 20th. We met for a sidewalk on Saturday, June 21st, that we had some of the members out there and some of the abutters out there. We've also received the AOT comments. We got those on June 23rd. We've been working through those the last few weeks. It's only been about 2.5 weeks on those. And lastly, received an abutter letter that I think this board also obtained last Friday, and we've worked through that. Next, we met with the Merrimack DPW and the Sewer Department last Wednesday, July 9th. That was to finalize the force main design and permitting under the FE Everett Turnpike, which we are currently working towards the state permit as well as the AOT permits at this point. Next, I'd like to walk the board through the changes that we are looking to make to the plans based on the site walk. There's really not any substantial changes to the plans from the AOT comments or from the Fuss and O'Neill comments. There were no building relocations or pavement moving. All their stuff are your typical dot your I's, cross your T's type stuff that we're working through their review comments. So there didn't seem to make sense to go through those comments with them, but kind of to go through what I think are the main concerns of some of the abutters and some of the board members as we're out there. So the first change is very minor. Actually, I'm going to go with this set, sorry. I handed out to you guys a set that had a breakdown of the sheets. These are all the sheets that are in the plan sets that have been submitted to the town. The highlighted red areas that I show you on this PDF are the slight changes that I've made to these plans here based on some of the comments that we've had. The first two are just the notes to the left here. These were just basically mistakes on our part here, making more clarification on the first note that this is a 60-unit elderly project being proposed here. The second one was we have the development zoning underlying zone regulations on there. This is an elderly project. This has its own elderly section. These setbacks do not apply. However, I like to try and show what we're proposing to you guys and to the abutters here. It had actually had a mistake on it saying 21 feet was one of the setbacks there from the back. I talked to staff at the beginning of this project because I was shocked that there were no setbacks on this. And I kind of discussed with them and said, we felt that 25 feet seemed to be a decent number. Your side setback for a building is 20 feet. So I felt that that was kind of a good compromise. Again, we don't have to adhere to that. We're doing that to try and be, in my opinion, a good neighbor and put a good product forward to the board and stuff like that. The other two things are in the bottom right-hand corner here. One of them, I actually last night was laying in bed. I thought I might need to tweak a little bit, but I guess I want to hear the board's comment on it. But the first one was about hours of operation. You guys don't have hours restricted in your regulations and your noise ordinance, stuff like that. The abutter had asked for something around 7 to 4 on Monday through Friday. I think we all know we have a very short buildable season here. I'd be willing to not do the weekends and do 6 to 6 on the weekdays. I think that's a reasonable request. But that is something that is different than what they were requesting. So I just want the board to understand we didn't agree 100%, but we threw that out there. The other note I put on there that there would be no pickleball courts on this site. This morning I was thinking maybe no loud noise activity, I don't know if you can actually pick on pickleball, I guess is what I was kind of feeling bad this morning. I was like, we do have a lot of indoor ones that are looking at Merrimack, so it's not the end of the world. We're not proposing any courts. I don't have a problem with it. I put it on the plan. I just was wondering if I stepped a little too far by picking on a sport and on that was all. The next sheet, this is the grading and drainage plan. Up in the corner here, on the site walk, this is where 25 Cabot Road was and where we went on our site walk that day. We went in the backyard. The gentleman had staked out where our buildings were, where the fence were, stuff like that. And he had shown a cross-section of what that would be. We had put the wall back where we did. Again, no setbacks, stuff like that. It was approximately 7 feet off the property line. Might have gone down to 6 feet at somewhere, but it's about 7 feet off the property line. That allowed us to do a swale behind our building and before the wall so the drainage could run to both sides into our detention systems. However, after the site walk, after the letter on Friday there, this morning, or yesterday morning, we agreed, we we looked at it, and we moved the wall back another 5 feet into our property. What that does is it eliminates the swale for us. We have to put in area drains now, which is fine. We have to put in about 3 or 4 area drains, actually about 4 or 5 along the back of that, and then tie those together with pipe instead of a swale. But that makes sense for us. So we pulled that back another 5 feet. So now it's 12 feet off the property line is where the retaining wall is. That is shown on this sheet here, as well as the second sheet. I did not just do it for 25 Cabot. That runs the whole length of the property. So where we had it 5 feet for every abutter there, we pulled it back for every abutter to that 12 feet now. Next question was on the landscaping. In this sheet here, you can see the buffer. We had done a pretty substantial buffer around the property, screening and stuff like that. It was brought to our attention, that letter there, that some of this vegetation takes a little longer to grow, which is true, and that there might have been some gaps in some of that there. So we offered to fill in some more. I added another 10 of the green giant arborvitaes to bring that total, which is right here on the plan now here. That will be a total of 26 now. Oops, back a sheet, sorry about that. So it'd be 26 of those, and then we added 16 of the dark arborvitaes, and that one goes up to 37 now. So again, a pretty substantial buffer along the whole backside. And this is not on our side of the wall. This is on their side of the wall. So this is all for their benefit for visibility. There's really not anything my people will see until it gets a certain height, and I'll explain that in a minute. That's here. So this is on the backside for a buffer to the property. And again, this is, on some of these properties here, the trees are cut to their property line. So, as a butter, we get to do the same thing. There's no setbacks on that, so that's why we're adding in the buffer on ours, though, to, again, I think be a good neighbor on that. Lighting was very minor up in the right-hand corner. As you guys know with me, I think we've seen this over the last 20 years. We've seen more stars now at night than we have in a long time. The dark sky lighting was really a good thing, I believe. Directs everything down. So we obviously designed to your standards. They wanted us to make sure we put a note in the plan that we'd adhere to the town requirements. But again, Fuss and O'Neill has already viewed that. We meet your requirements that are there. Now the retaining wall itself. We added a detail in the upper right-hand corner. This is the Mitchie wall, or the Ready Rock retaining wall that we're proposing. So we did not propose a concrete, poured concrete wall. We proposed something aesthetically pleasing. So it's the Ready Rock retaining wall. And then we propose an 8-foot vinyl fence on top of it. So we're going to have the vegetated buffer, then we're going to have an 8-foot privacy fence, and then it drops down to our site, and then our units and stuff like that. So we've tried to create a visual barrier that I believe meets the intent of working with the butters. Again, not stuff that we had to do based on the regulations. There's nothing we're asking for waivers on here. There's no zoning stuff that we had to do besides the use there. So I think our site's fairly clean. Architectural, that was something that was discussed at the last hearing. We have our architectural, again, I had given you pictures of these, and you wanted to kind of see more what it was going to look like on black and white that was here. So again, this is a 4-unit building, basically a 2-story house. Again, this is one thing Chris has been working on, is the massing of it to bring it down and get it cost effective. The thing we've learned the last couple of years is nothing's penciling out from a cost standpoint, so everything's got to really be looked at, brought in, kind of made sure it's not over intrusive. The roof lines don't have a million jogs, but you still need to have character in the jogs and stuff like that. All 4 of these garages you see on this plan here, each one has access through their garage directly into their unit. I will show you that on the floor plan in a minute. But it's a very nice feature that even the guy on the second floor goes into his garage, parks his car, never has to come back outside to get to his units on the second floor. Next one is the rear elevation. Again, very similar to what I showed you from the building plans that we'd show. And again, I took this from a Florida house that I've kind of put together, and I think we're going to see a lot more of these up here soon, it looks like. But we have our porches on either side, middle kind of massing of where the bedrooms is there. Again, trying to keep the roof line down as much as possible. I think it's, there's a lot bigger single-family homes around in this area that people are building as well. So I think kind of massing made sense. We'd show on a right side, we threw some dimensions on here. We have about 11 feet to the first porch. One of the things on that was kind of, you guys had a letter, I'm sure you all went through it there. The gentleman, the abutter, put together kind of cross-section to give you an idea of what they would be looking at from their house potentially. And again, we meet the requirements without the landscape vegetation, without the walls, the screening, with where we're putting our buildings, stuff like that, but we think it makes a good neighbor to do something like this. So the approximate location of this porch is about elevation 225. The top of the privacy fence is going to be about 228, so about 2 feet over. So anybody from our side would be looking up over the fence and into the sky. I believe, and I can't say 100%, that now eliminates them seeing even the porch itself. If anything, they might see the top of the porch that's right here, and then the roof line. So again, I can't take away everything they can see, but I think we've come up with at least I believe it's a balance on what your regulations require us to do. And again, you guys have known me a long time. I've tried to work with the butters as much as I can. I don't try to be a dink. I think we put a good foot forward, but again, I haven't addressed everything to the letter that they asked, but I addressed a lot of what they were looking for, I believe. On to just quickly the floor plans there, which were over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this unit here, this is the first floor. This is very similar to what you saw last meeting. This is the first floor garage here, and he walks right in through this door here, and he has a nice living flat, the whole area. We did put an small office in the corner here, and then the 2 bedrooms are there. There's no closet. Again, I'm looking to build a library in my house right now that my kids have moved out. I kind of like the extra room, so it's not always a bedroom just because there's space for that. And then the second floor, so the outside garage here is how you would access that one there. And you access through, actually there's a window right above now, but you access the door right there. And you can see they have an internal staircase right here. This internal staircase goes down to the basement for them and also goes up to their flat on the second floor. Each unit here has its own basement. So this area right here is actually the basement for the lower floor. And then this area here is the basement for the upper floor. So they each have a basement, each have access from the garage, in and out, and they go from there. And then on traffic, lastly, I talked about traffic at the last hearing there. We had done the short analysis. I asked everybody, please go take a look at the one next to the diner that we did. I mean, you just don't see the cars coming in and out of here. We don't generate the traffic that people think that these generate. I think you even see the Gilbert crossing. I mean, that's regular, and I don't see traffic as much coming in and out of there. So, depending on the hours and stuff like that they come and go, I think the traffic they just don't generate for this type of use here. I know you guys have a huge agenda, a lot of people here, so I'm going to keep that to my presentation and kind of try to address any questions or comments you guys have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Board, are there any questions? Nelson?
Yeah. Go back a ways. You didn't talk today about the sidewalk, and I forgot how we left that.
Yep.
Nelson, microphone, if you don't mind. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm asking about the sidewalk because Matt didn't mention it here, and it was a matter of discussion earlier, and its connection to the Bedford Road sidewalk and so on.
Yep. So on this plan right here, the first thing we did is we extended the sidewalk that we saw out there in the field from the abutter there to our sidewalk that's right there. That's been connected there. And then we come to Bedford Road right here. And then we crosswalk this way, and then crosswalk across to the sidewalk that's on the other side there. And that's how we've connected to the existing sidewalk. And that sidewalk runs, and I verified all the way down to Daniel Webster Highway. And actually, there's sidewalk on the other side as well. But the sidewalk on the other side doesn't come all the way down to our site.
All right. Okay. Okay, thank you. And there was one other thing that I wanted to ask. Oh, yeah, this is a condo development, right?
Yes, these would be for sale, yes.
Yeah, and the roadways will be
Private.
private. They'll be condo owners. There's no sidewalk internal to this proposed. Okay, I just wanted to understand that. I didn't.
The
know
only
if it-
thing I want to show you is what we did for the town, is on the easements. So as I said, oh, I don't have that one right here. Actually, hold on, sorry, let me go back to this one. Resident site plan. So, coming off of Cabot Road, I told you guys there, and I think some of the board members went and looked at there, there is a ton of water that comes down through that development there. DPW piped it all through this pipe right here and just daylighted on our site right about here, and then it kind of made its way down and it makes it into this pond. It's obviously what feeds this pond here. What we did is we analyzed the whole system up top, everything that was going to that catch basin. We just didn't take a full pipe. We analyzed what was up there, and we designed this detention basin at the bottom here to slow up the flow, let it settle out, and then trickle it into the wetland that's afterwards. So we gave an easement that the town didn't have for that whole area to be able to use that drainage and stuff like that. So we do have an easement, and we allowed an easement over our private road, Nelson, so they can get to it. So it is private, all that, but there are some town easements so that they can access some things that were at the back of the property, basically.
And that's been reviewed by DPW, right?
I don't know.
Everything's been submitted, Fossil and O'Neill, this is,
Yes,
we haven't
that-
changed anything.
Yes, that has been reviewed by DPW.
Thank you, Amanda.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. John?
Hey, Matt, can you pull up the floor plan again, please? Is there a I'm a little confused on this
Yep.
one. Is there a second way in and out of the building other than the garage?
Yes. So right here in the middle,
Yep,
each one of these, this door here goes to the first floor, and this door here goes to the second floor.
okay, all right. I was a little concerned that the only access was through a garage.
We built this in Bedford in '96, built it in Rochester in 2014, so each one's a little different. He's making a little tweaks to it, but we've done this in New Hampshire, so I
Okay.
should meet all the requirements.
Okay.
Excellent. Pete?
A couple of things. The lighting, one of the residents brought up the lighting behind the units. And I know there's a slope in some areas, and as you described, it'd probably be blocked, but is that for all of them? Because I can see some folks now looking out on lights on balconies that are running all night and not appreciating that. And if that's the case, is there some way to put in muted lighting that would direct everything down and not out?
So we put together, I just want to grab the plan here for you. So because they had asked that, I had the lighting guy actually put lights on each of them here and stuff like that. So on the plan here, I put them on the back porches so we could see what the spill would be. But as I was looking at them doing my presentation night, we made a change on something similar to this in another town, and it was in Milford. And even though these lights aren't going to throw light, you're right, somebody's going to see the light. I would be willing to sit here tonight that we'd have recessed lighting. I did these as on the side. Recessed lighting would have it down and you wouldn't see it, and that's,
I think that would be fair.
I would agree 100%.
Now, I noticed in your work plan, you guys are requesting a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. workday. I have to tell you personally, I don't think that's fair to the residents. I'm not in favor of that. And I think it's weekdays only, and I have I think that a 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Normal work hours would be appropriate. We've done that in the past. So that would be a sticking point for me.
Did you say because it was on the weekends too? Is that what you said?
I'm
that?
sorry?
Did you say because it was going to be on the weekends as well?
Yeah, I don't see a need for people having to hear that all weekend long.
Right, I didn't do, I specifically said no
Just, but
weekends.
6 AM is early.
Right now, your town doesn't have any set timeframes to when we can do work. So, I mean, like I said, right now, with the windows that we have, where this year we didn't start construction almost June 1st, it's such a short window. I hear what
Maybe
you're
that's something
saying.
we need to work on then.
Yep, I would agree, your town could have your noise.
And I don't agree with that at all, but, when you guys came to us originally talking about the sewer project, you said the town was gonna have to put in a pump house. And I'm trying to remember, where did you indicate that pump house was gonna have to go?
So what has been decided to work out with, like I said, the sewer department, stuff like that. So what's going to happen is, we have a pump station here on our site, right at the bottom here. You can see it up there. So this is our pump station for the project that's here. This will handle all the flow from our project, and then it has a force main that runs up and runs down across the street, and then it's going to go underneath the highway to feed that. Talking with DPW and our client, it was kind of difficult to find a way to switch. So let me back up a second. The town has a plan to put a pump station up along Bedford Road, somewhere in this location here. That's in your master plan that you have that's there.
Okay, yep.
This pump station here is what they would like to do. So I was trying to combine them and do maybe two down at this location here. And there were a lot of things coming up that didn't really make a sense putting it down there. So what we came up with was that we're going to run two force mains from our pump station through the road across there, and then underneath the highway, we're going to put two 4-inch mains in, most likely an 8 or a 12-inch sleeve. We're not sure, we haven't finalized the size of the sleeve yet. One will be our 4-inch main that we'll use now. One will be a future force main for the city town in the future. And we're going to give them an area up in front here that if they would like to put in the pump station, they can. What we're finding is that it's probably 50 to 100 years out in realistically, just because you have 3 other ones that are more priority than this location of town right now. So we kind of worked a balance there where we're going to get all the infrastructure in underneath the highway and to this location here. And there's no sense putting in a pump station for 50 years that's going to change the technology and stuff like that. So that's how we worked it out.
Okay, thank you. Just, now, these are gonna be individual residences. They're not rented, they're not controlled by a management company. These are gonna be all individual tax contributing residences. Am I correct in that?
I just don't want on the record where you say, I know a lot of homeowners buy something, they rent it to some, I can't tell you 20 years down the road, but there's no management association. This is all going to be for sale.
Okay, just, if somebody buys it and decides to rent it later, you have no
That's-
control of it.
that's all I'm saying.
But they're contributing to the tax base.
Yes, there is going to be no association. This is not rentals, all for
And you
sale.
guys kind of preface this as elderly housing.
Correct.
But I see it's 55 and over.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of looking at the floor plan and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know many elderly people that are gonna be on a second floor without an elevator. So it kind of flies in the face of things a little bit.
Let me tell you, I'm 55, my wife's 56, and we're looking at this exact unit at Bonita Springs, and we want the top floor.
Yeah.
So, and I know the lady who worked for the town of Bedford secretary, she's about 60, she's been in the top floor, and she loves it. She's been there for 30 years, so.
Okay. I'm
I-
just
there-
looking at
I
it,
just,
though.
there
I'm
are, I
thinking-
mean, some people can do steps. You're right, 55, I don't feel elderly.
I don't feel.
My brain is
yeah.
feeling elderly.
And
but-
I'm beyond 55,
Yeah.
but, and I don't feel elderly either,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking folks 80 years old or something like that,
They might switch to a lower floor
Yeah.
as they
Okay.
go, if they like the
All right,
location.
thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments, questions? All right, Matt, if you don't mind, I'm going to open it up
Yep.
for the public hearing. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, I'd like to open it for the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak to the project? Please, come on up, introduce yourself. If you don't mind, there's a microphone right there as well. You can use either or. Just, if you don't mind, please make sure that the green light is on. There should be a switch somewhere on there. Up top.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kate Steele, and I live at 8 Roundtree Drive. And I got to tell you, this sounds like a giant boondoggle. I'm very sorry. I come from Massachusetts. I lived in a condo unit similar to this. There's a lot of things that are, but not sureties. How many souls are going to live here? What is it really going to do to the traffic pattern? Personally, when I leave in the morning, I have to wait 10 minutes just to get off Davis Road and get on Bedford. And most of those days, I'm likely I get out alive. When I go left to go to the rubbish on Saturdays, I nearly get killed twice. And then you have to fight Wire Road, which is another story. So we're going to add traffic on top of Bedford, on top of Wire Road. They're expanding the highway. What impact does that have? And no offense, in all respect to you, I work in a hospital. Most people over 55 can't climb stairs. Sorry to tell you that. And Gilbert Crossing is a nightmare. The traffic is horrible there. It can take you 20 minutes to get up to the airport. It can already take you 15 to 20 minutes just to get down or up Bedford Road to where I live, or down to the Daniel Webster Highway, if it's a trafficy moment. There's little children in buses that try to get into our development. They almost get hit every day. What is it going to do to the ambulances? What is it going to do to fire? What is it going to do to police? And as far as the pump house, we already have flooding in our area. We already have issues with water. In water control, this year, luckily, we've had a lot of rain. We haven't had those issues, but we've had them in the past. I've only been here 3 years, and already the traffic with the expansion project on the highway is making living in our little development horrific. When you step at our door, if you go as the crow flies, that's about maybe 2,000 feet up from our house. What does it do to our groundwater? There's fresh springs there where already you can't pour salt. How is that going to impact the environment there? I'm only talking this passionately because this is my granddaughter's future. That's where my granddaughter lives. And already I can see the danger, and I can't see how this is going to improve that. I see it making it worse. And in all due respect, I appreciate all the improvements that are happening in this town, but we just had an election where the town was talking very seriously about how the town is looking to afford itself. What are these additional expenses going to do to this town? I love this town. That's why I moved here. It's amazing here. I don't want to see it be ruined. Thank you for my time.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the project? Ma'am, if you don't mind.
Hi, good evening. My name's Kathleen Hurley McBride. I live on Kittredge Lane, which is off of Davis. I've lived there approximately 22 years. My concern is, and first I'll state, I'm not for or against it. I'm here to gain understanding, to learn what's being done as far as this development. What I wanted to share with you, I did read the minutes from the last meeting, and one of the things in there said that there would be a traffic study done, but it was stated earlier that there really wasn't a concern for traffic. I disagree with that. The reason being is I have to travel Davis every day. So my options right now is I can turn right or I can turn left onto Bedford. I don't have to worry about somebody coming across the street, just right or left. With this new development, which my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is right across from Davis. So now Davis is going to have a choice to go right, left, or straight. The development across the street is going to have a choice to go right, left, or straight. So I'm going to have to not only worry about the traffic coming down Bedford, I'm going to have to worry about the vehicle across the new development. Which way are they going? So if you're planning a traffic study, one should be done in detail. You know, has there been one done through the years? And if so, what has that revealed? On a personal experience, I can share with you, I was involved at an accident on the corner of Bedford and Davis many years ago. I was traveling down Davis, taking a right on, traveling down Bedford, I'm sorry, taking a right on Davis, when the car thought I was taking a left, which there is no left there to take, but there will be if the development goes through. So he came around the corner and hit me on the side. I had young kids in the car, and my car suffered like $10,000 worth of damage. So my question is, has there been a study done? Will there be a study done? The studies that have been done, if they have been done, what have they revealed? I'm sure, I know in 22 years, yes, I've seen a lot more traffic on Bedford Road. There's no question about that. But how much has it increased? And have there been accidents? And if so, are the accidents increasing year after year? So I guess my question or comment is, should this proposal go through, take a look at those roads, Davis and the road for the new development. Does it make sense after a traffic study? Should there be a right-hand turning lane? Should there be a left-hand turning lane on both entrances? What will make it easier for the traffic to flow and avoid accidents and happening in the future? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
My name is Gabe Cohen. I live on Bedford Road, on the corner of Bedford Road and Cathy Street. I've been there 24 years. With all the new developments up Pearson Road, subdivisions, the traffic along Bedford Road these last few years has just been incredibly dangerous. Add to that, a couple of years ago when they repaved Bedford Road, I now jokingly call it the Bedford Road Speedway. The speed limit is 30, but traffic is going by at 40, 45, 50. There's at least 2 or 3 accidents right on my corner every year. And I understand right before I moved in 2002, somebody was actually killed on that corner. I have the same concern that most of these other folks do about the additional traffic. You got 50 units coming in, that's going to be at least 35 to 40 vehicles coming in and out of there every day, with traffic coming off the highway from Pearson Road. It's just going to be an incredible mess. And again, the young lady before me asked about a traffic study. I'd like to put a halt on this until that's thoroughly done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to the project? Nope. Ma'am, if you'd like to go, or good evening, sir.
Philly Rothaus, 14 Kittredge Lane. The traffic is a nightmare, by the way, in the morning in particular. First, I'm always disappointed that our zoning board of adjustment thinks it's okay to move elderly housing out of our elderly housing district. That's bothersome to me, because what I think it did is it took what was originally proposed, if I'm not mistaken, as a 15-unit complex and turned it into a 60-unit complex. Did I understand that the pump station is going to be a private pump station on the property? I just heard that.
I'll have to have Matt address that when he's back up.
Okay. Because if it is, I'd want to know who's going to be, if there's no association with this property, who's going to be paying for a pump station to get it repaired or replaced in 30 years. The force main, I wasn't aware of any of this sewage stuff. Shame on me. I should have known it before this meeting tonight. But I'm wondering the costs associated. There's only one other force main that I'm aware of in town, and that's at Greenfield Properties in Bedford. And that was so they could utilize our town sewer system. So if there's any future costs associated to the town with this, it's unacceptable in my opinion. I want to touch on what Peter Albert said about the elderly housing. There shouldn't be 2 stories to this. It should be set up for people who might become, as they grow in their age, infirmed or have difficulties navigating stairs. If there's no lifts, there should be no second floor in these units. And I think, for the time being, I think that's it. And I would like to hear an answer on that pump station.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Miss?
Hi, my name is Heather Farrow.
My name is Kevin Farrow.
And we're from 25 Cabot Road. Thank you all who were able to come and look at our property during the site walk. We so greatly appreciate that. Some concerns, we really appreciate, Peter, your concern regarding the 7 to 5 time frame for construction. We would greatly appreciate that, as there are so many young children, and just not only young children, but also everybody would appreciate not being woken up at 6 a.m. And in terms of so now from the property line, the wall is going to be built 12 feet back from that. prior to that, it said, so I'm just curious, like, are the buildings still also going to be 25 feet from the property line? Because on that first page, it says the rear setback is 41 feet. So because the wall is now 12 feet back from the property line, does that make the whole unit also further back? Because that just changes whether or not that elevation profile is accurate. That's something that we would greatly appreciate, still having the engineer come out and have like a true elevation profile to see whether or not, okay, from that second floor porch, what is our view? Because many of us are, 3 of those on 25 Cabot are splits. So our first floor that we predominantly live in is resting higher anyway. So we're just curious whether or not that height of the tree and height of the fence truly does give us that privacy. Also, just clarification, is it 26 arborvitaes per property line? We're just curious of that for like filling, because some of the green arborvitaes are a little bit narrower. So there's more gaps to the vision versus the green giants that grow a little bit more fuller. So again, just trying to really visualize how it's going to dramatically change our privacy in the back. Watering of the trees. Is there going to be some sort of watering filtration system to help those trees accurately grow properly? And if any of them fail to do so, is it going to be written in their, I don't know, someone mentioned an HOA, whether or not it was going to be developed or not. If it's a condo, are they going to have an HOA? Are they going to be in charge of making sure that the maintenance of the trees, the trimming of the trees is proper? And if they don't survive, are they going to be replaced? Not at our cost, but their cost. Recessed lighting that was mentioned on the porch, shooting down, we are in support of, not shooting out towards us. In terms of, I'm a PT, so I also am in support of obviously the first floor, considering I am working on a lot of people trying to help with their navigation of stairs as they get older. So for safety-wise, I agree. The elderly clarification of it usually is people are trying to move into a first floor unit. And lastly, what's the next step? Is there going to be another public hearing for this? Or is this the last chance for us to kind of know the plans for the development? So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? All right, with that said, I will close the public hearing. Matt, if you'd like to come back up and address some of these comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay, so first on the traffic, just so to clarify, we had done a short traffic analysis, which is what's required by the town of Merrimack. That is stamped by a civil engineer. That goes through all the counts that everybody's talking about in the back there. Why I glossed over it beforehand was that basically the morning AM peak was going to add 12 vehicles per hour, 4 vehicles entering, 8 vehicles exiting. The PM's going to add 15 vehicles, and these are during the peak hour periods. These are, 6 to 8 in the morning, 4 to 6 in the afternoon. So 15 vehicles in the afternoon, 8 vehicles entering, 7 exiting. What we're required to do is look at the trip distribution. There are approximately 11,284 vehicles per day on Bedford Road currently. We are going to add about 198, or 1.75%. That's why when Falson O'Neill, the town's review engineer, reviews our stuff, that's why they sign off on the traffic, and that's why I made the statement I made that it's been addressed and we've looked at it there. So I want everybody to understand, we don't cut any corners, we don't miss anything, not do stuff. We did that, submitted, stamped by an engineer, it's been reviewed by your engineers. So, that's where the traffic stands and what we did, and we did not avoid anything on that. The recessed lighting, yes, I've already agreed to that. That wasn't a concern that was there. The pump station is all private. All the force main is private. We are even putting in the force main for the town of Merrimack and going underneath the highway for the town of Merrimack, so that when you do build a pump station for your residents that are all, there's residents up along the River Road there that come down. There's also stuff across on Davis that if you go to the town, you can see the bubble of the area that you're looking to try and service with this pump station for the town. So the whole infrastructure would be in for the town of Merrimack. So there is no cost on that. And you would put in a pump station for all the residents that are sitting behind me, not for my residents. So at that point, yes, you would have a fee. You're gonna have to pick up the cost when you do that, but that's not a burden to my client at that point. We're actually putting in infrastructure for you to have that. I'm really sorry that most people are around 55-year-olds that can't go on a second floor. That to me is just, I just did a 109-mile bike ride last week in Vermont, and everybody that beat me was older than me. Like, I'm sorry that you're with groups that can't walk, but there's a lot of us that are 55 to 75. My parents are 75, and just same thing. So like, there are a lot of people in our demographics that would like to be on a second floor because we like being above people than below people, okay? I'm sorry that that's not the people you're around, but it changed the demographics of that. As far as the building, the side setbacks were 20 feet is what I said on the underlining district. So if I'd come in with a single-family residential home project, they could go within 20 feet of the property line. We set our buildings at 25. I did not move the buildings from this application from the last one. I only moved the wall back and added the buffer that was there. As far as the arborvitae's in that is the total along the back. There's a drawing on the bottom there. You can see them all drawn in on the plan. Those are the total number of landscape trees there. Again, not a requirement in any zoning requirement from the town of Merrimack. We put our best foot forward to put that there. There is a homeowners association that would take care of them. I don't know how they go about it. If one dies, if they put it back in there, I would assume they go about that. But that's not something, I could put a note in the plan that they do, but 30 years from now, who's going to go back to a plan and see a note? I think what we've put forward makes a lot of sense with the buffers and stuff like that that's there. It's not going to be perfect for everybody, I get it, but you're looking at the arborvitae's, and then you're looking at a white stockade, white vinyl fence behind it. So if there's a gap, you're still looking at the fence behind it. As far as the height over that, yeah, that's kind of clearing some of the roof line we talked about, and that's more 10, 15 years down the road that as things grow up, that's there. Environmental concerns, I'm not really sure what those were. I know that you've had a lot with PFAB and all this stuff. One of the things the zoning board made us do was bring sewer to the site. They didn't want us to do, as the gentleman brought up, 15 on-site septics because they didn't want the PFAB getting into the septic system and getting into your groundwater and having a potential to contaminate. So they asked us, if we got this permit, we had to bring sewer. Huge thing to bring sewer across the highway and up to the site. So obviously putting septics is a lot easier. But again, from an environmental standpoint, we brought sewer to the site so that we're not having that. And then, drainage-wise, we've now met, like I said, this thing goes to AOT, so it has to meet all the flood controls, all that kind of stuff there. I tell people a lot, if you look at the Mother's Day floods from about 20 years ago where the whole state blew up, we had those same floods this year because it killed Vermont. I'm sorry, last year when it killed Vermont. We didn't get killed. We've changed our AOT requirements now where we have to look at the volume of water instead of just the peak runoff. So our ponds look at the volume that we're dealing with on site that we're affecting and making sure we're handling that. So again, regs have changed substantially in New Hampshire the last 10 years actually, and we've addressed that from the environmental standpoint. And the last thing, everybody will come to this board, and you guys have heard it when you guys hear the garden styles and everything else. We have a housing crisis in New Hampshire. We don't have a housing crisis in New Hampshire. We have a single-family purchased housing crisis in New Hampshire. We don't have anything like this that people can buy and move into and then sell their house and let somebody else become a first-time home buyer and move the process forward. Me and my wife have been in our house 9 years now. We're supposed to move out. Where am I going to move to? It's a perfect time for us to do it. The kids are off to college. This is what we need. We need single-family stuff that people can purchase. I know you have a lot of garden styles. We originally looked at a 4-story building here with garage under, 68 units. It was a huge L shape, spread out the whole thing. Those were going to be rentals, as Peter had brought beforehand and stuff like that. That was going to be a whole different product. This is for sale, tax base, homeowners, buy a house in Merrimack, come here and live. I think that addresses what I heard, but if I missed something, please let me know.
No, I believe you touched on everything, Matt. Thank you very much. Board, are there any comments? Nelson. and then
I
I'll
have
get
a
to you.
comment, Hakeem, because I missed it on the first time through, but the memo that staff put out here before this meeting, there's a substantial number of comments from the wastewater treatment group in Merrimack, and a lot of issues that they raised. And without going into them specifically, I want to know if they're all being addressed and if that's being taken care of. I guess this is a question for staff and
Yes.
where we are with that.
Amanda, do you have anything on that?
They, as they're in they would be in the conditions of approval. So if you were to give the application conditional approval, you could require them to meet these conditions.
Well, it seems there's some pretty substantial things in here that I kind of just, that have several possible answers. And I want to see that our wastewater treatment group is satisfied with this arrangement. It seems there's a few open items in there and things that are just hanging. It's on pages, I guess the pages aren't numbered, but.
Upper right-hand corner, Nelson.
Yeah, 2 pages, begins page 2 and page 3. And,
Looks like it starts on page 4, Mr. Nelson, number 8.
Yeah, it's item 7 and all of the items underneath it. I see what you're referring to, and item 8 from the Public Works Department.
yeah, and there's a lot of things in there that, they could go one way or another, and I'm not sure that I want to make sure our wastewater treatment group has had a chance to get what they want out of this, to get a satisfactory solution.
So if I could
They-
speak
Matt, Matt, why don't you touch on this?
So we met with them last week, July 9th, with Mike Gorham, and went through the whole thing about the pump station here. All this stuff that you're seeing here we got this on May 20th. We took care of all this already, Nelson, but in a process of not printing out paper on every single time we go through and doing things efficiently, we wait till we get the AOT comments, which we got on the 23rd of June, literally about 2.5 weeks ago. So now we incorporate all that stuff in. The plans are all set to go back. There isn't anything if I were to get an approval tonight, I'd have to address all this. If I didn't think I could address any of this, I'd tell you not to approve me tonight because I need to go back and work with them. We can address everything that's in the letter here. And last thing on your comment there, number 7 that you brought up is all Public Works. That's one department.
Yeah.
Number 8 is the wastewater. So
Okay.
there's just one comment from them, 8, and they've got, 12 comments on it and that. So yes, we have addressed all these already internally at our office. They have not gone back to them yet, but we would address every single one of them.
That's not what this memo says to me, that it's all addressed, okay?
Understood.
No, this is their first review. We
This-
submitted the plans for that May
Yeah.
20th. This is their first review. They haven't done a second review. This is only their first review.
Okay, well,
That's
where
all.
are they today? I guess I want to hear from them that they're okay with this.
Understood, Nelson.
Yep. Gotcha.
It can be conditional of your approval. Should you approve it, you
Well-
can make a condition of that it is addressed and adhered to.
Yeah.
Did anybody else have any comments?
I had a couple.
Justin, please.
One is a quick one. I see your, I guess they're kind of hammerheads. Was the fire department fine with those dimensions for the hammerheads, the turnarounds?
Yes, we're okay. Those all meet the requirements of the fire department.
Okay. They said they were fine with it?
You're talking about,
I know-
talking about the building department, sir.
I know dimensionally it's fine.
You're talking
but-
about the building department, sir. The building department comment about circling the roads, not having a dead end, but that's not his jurisdiction.
Okay. I just know that's.
yes, this
that's-
meets the
that's
fire
for
department.
Fire apparatus, so I'm just making sure they're fine with it. And then you said the pump house and all the sewage is private, so that any repairs from your property line in will be covered by the association, correct?
Actually, any of stuff all the way through to the manholes.
will be
So
covered
down
by the
Davis and
association?
stuff. I mean, anything that our force main is running to. So we're running from our pump station to a manhole on the other side of the turnpike.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Excellent. Does anybody, oh, Pete?
Mr. Rothaus brought up that this plan at one point was originally for 15 units. Was that you folks, or was that somebody else who had prior approval, or?
That was a conceptual that we showed to the zoning board at one point to do something there, yes. But we were proposing that on 15 septics.
And why the change, I guess, from 15 to 60? That's a pretty big jump.
Because we're required to bring sewer from the other side of that highway, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Because we're required to bring sewer from the other side of the highway, sir.
Okay.
Change the project substantially.
Okay. I guess I'm looking at 60 units in here, and, you know, I know you guys you're trying your best to move a few feet, 5 feet here, 6, and I can appreciate that. But I'm wondering if 60 units are we trying to put a size 12 foot into a size 6 shoe in this situation?
I'm allowed 68, and I actually had 8 more units on the downside where that slope is right there, walkouts that I took out because I agreed with you it was a little too much.
Okay, thank you.
Any comment? No? All right, just checking.
Could I ask
Yes.
Bob for one comment?
You can.
The applicant spoke about ongoing maintenance, especially of living hedges and things like that. As time goes by, these trees mature or they fall down or other things happen. And do we continue to enforce when we put together a plan like this with a screening? How does the town get involved with continuing to enforce it once it's done and built and everybody's gone home?
If something happens to die along the way, if we're made aware of it, all these trees are on the site plan, so they're required to be there. If they start to die, then it would be responsible to replace those.
That would apply to other
Any
situations
site.
in town as
Yep.
well?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Fair. All right. Well, board, we are charged with voting on accepting or not accepting this conditional final approval. Is there a motion?
It has already been accepted as complete.
Nope, a final approval.
Oh, yes.
Is there a motion?
No.
I'll make a motion to find that with the proposed conditions of approval, the application meets all, is that what we're doing here? Okay. The application meets all applicable regulatory requirements necessary and further to grant conditional final approval to the application subject to the recommended conditions of approval presented in the staff memo dated July 11, 2025.
Is there a second? Robert, I've never had to deal with this before.
If no one wants to second, then the motion would die, and you'd have to look for some other kind of motion.
Okay. The motion is dead. Is there another motion, an alternative? Neil?
Could we just go back for a second? Can I just
Please.
have another question, I guess?
Yes, please.
Now that I'm thinking of it. There's been a big concern about the traffic, which I drive up and down Bedford Road, and I can totally understand what you're talking about. But where that is a crossroad now, should we be considering maybe putting some line, like stripe, different lanes to turn left and right and whatnot on that entry road? Would that help this situation, or would that just make it more confusing? Somebody had suggested it, like a left turn lane going in, or a right turn lane, or something like that, and it kind of makes sense to me that if you have that crossroad, because I think we did that in other areas, further down on DW, you're putting lanes in to take a right-hand turn, or...
If you have the land. You need the land.
Maybe just to have a lane going into the property, or something like that, I mean, it would help, I think.
We have the ability to do a left turn and a right turn at our exit.
You do?
You can see we have the land on both sides that are here. There's plenty of room right there, and then this is the DOT right-of-way in here, so that's DOT land that we're allowed.
So you'd be able to get a spot in there where they could.
We could do a left turn and a right turn so that people, you know which way
I
they
think
were
it's
going.
important, and I think it would help maybe people feel a little bit better about it just because of the concerns of pulling in and out. I've been there. I can share experiences there too. But if that would help, I think it would make me feel better knowing that was there at least to alleviate some of the traffic concern.
Yep, we definitely would be willing to do that. I think if everybody, what we just saw with the hold, if the 6 to 6 was such a sticking point too with that, we'd be willing to work with the board on the hours.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
So right now, you're up against the 65-day clock. If you're going to continue this any further, you would need to get an extension from the applicant if they're willing to give it.
Matt?
At this point, we'd be willing to give the 65-day clock to. If the board, I'd like a little more direction on kind of what concerns were, because I didn't really see that there wasn't going to be a second on that, so. If it's just dealing with Nelson in the comments, I understand that, but the only other thing I heard was time, so maybe he's going.
Pete?
I can tell you what my sticking point is. Work hours, 7 to 5. I don't think that's unreasonable. You get the laborers show up if they need to 6 a.m., set up their gear, and don't start work till 7. So that's my sticking point for this, and I won't vote in favor of it unless that changes.
Matt, I'm with Pete on that one also.
That's yours. So can I ask a question from the board here, just kind of a discussion? Is this something you guys are going to, look at changing your regs potentially? Because for me to sit here and my client looks at me and I'm giving everything up on a timing, and then the next guy comes in and he gets 6 to 6. If that's something you guys are going forward with, then that's the way it goes. I got no issues with that. We'll change the plan to 7 to 5. But I would like to not be the only person this year that gets asked that, if that's the concern.
I'll answer for me. I can't answer for every board
That's
member
fine.
because I just spoke up. But it is an issue. We've had this throughout town over the years.
Yeah.
We recently had homes being built off of Pearson Road, and they were, making all sorts of noise very early in the day and going till late in the night. And I frankly don't think that's fair. If I'm in a position at some point where I can suggest that the town move to setting work hours, absolutely. I'll be in favor of that. But, in residential areas, if you guys are out in the sticks and no one around you, I wouldn't have a problem.
All right, Pete.
I understand, mister, and we'd go with the 7 to 5 on that.
Robert?
I was just saying, just for what it's worth, I know DPW is working on an amendment to their construction standards that does have hours of operation in them. They haven't been adopted yet, but the town's moving toward that.
Okay.
That's excellent. Thank you, Robert.
Then I'm definitely even more in favor of that.
All right.
Do we have to, he's willing to waive the 65? Do we vote on that?
Well, I guess the question would be, if is the board more apt to take up an approval motion again now that the issue
Understood.
of hours is resolved?
How does the board feel about that open discussion?
My hang-up with this
Yes, sir.
is the density that's in there.
Okay.
The density of housing in this location. And that's my reason for not seconding the motion.
I understand. Neil, what's your hang-up, if you don't mind?
I'd have to say a bit of the density, but my hang-up really, I think, has been kind of put at bay with the traffic. It's mostly the traffic for me. And I've been up and down that road, and I've seen it on Davis. I've seen near accidents. And it's just to add that one more thing there, people coming in and out. That's really my major concern, but whereas they said that they could put that in, and if we could put that in as, you have to put in the separate lanes and whatnot, I think I would be all right with approving it.
Matt, would you have an issue with the part being too close to the intersection? I know that can be a problem, to the other intersections, rather.
What was your question?
Would you have an issue putting in those lanes if you're too close to the other intersections, such as Back River Road and the Turnpike?
No, I've got the separation from those there, and we're right across from Davison, so I line up perfectly.
Okay.
Okay. John, do you have any other issues? things
That
that
was
are
one of my
prevent-
issues, and the time was also, I agree with
Time.
Peter on the time.
If I may,
Yes,
if I
please.
recall from one of the previous meetings, we did have a concern about turnaround and whatnot. Did you have a truck turnaround?
Yeah, we've done
Is it
the
in there?
fire
Yeah.
trucks and that on the plan.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to review that, but I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah,
was
there were
done.
turnarounds on the plan that they could, the fire
Okay.
department would be able to use.
Justin, is there something that you'd like to comment to as far as a sticking point?
No, I'm good.
Matt, so I've got some concerns with working hours and mostly traffic. I know Neil had suggested the 2-lane, the left and the right, and potentially having a discussion about adjusting working hours. What are your thoughts on those?
We're amenable to both of those. 7 to 5 working hours, and adding a left turn lane out of the site so that there's 2 assigned lanes, so you know if they're turning left, straight, or taking a right.
I appreciate that. All right, so I will put the
In the lighting?
lighting, I believe, was already agreed
Was
upon.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So now that we've had this discussion, board, we are back where we were before. As far as, is there a motion for? It's still on the floor. I thought it died.
It was never seconded, so we moved on, so you can take a new motion.
All right, is there a motion to approve or deny?
I would make a motion. I'll make a motion to
It's-
approve,
page
to accept it as complete. Well, no, we already did that, right?
No, no,
Sorry.
it's all right. You're looking at page 6.
To approve it,
You're looking
yeah.
at page 6 now. It's all good.
The conditions.
With the conditions discussed. Sorry, I don't have it right in front of me.
That's okay. Robert, is that exciting?
I'd like to get it specified.
Yeah, let's get it
All right, so let's
specified.
touch on the 2 lanes of turning and the working hours. And the back of page 6, you'll find some of the verbiage to help you out on the packet.
So moved. Does that work?
I don't know if I can do that. I don't think I can do that.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find
It's
the
okay,
verbiage
man.
here, and
Listen,
I'm,
there's no rush. This is just a slow
Yeah.
process. It's okay.
Not sure that I have it right here in front of me.
Here, I can give it a try. I make a motion to grant conditional final approval to the application, subject to the recommended conditions of approval presented in the staff memo dated July 11, 2025, as well as the further condition of adding a left and right turn lanes and construction working hours.
Adjusted to 7 to 5.
Adjusted to 7 to 5.
Is there a second?
I will second that. Thank you.
Motion made by Karen, seconded by Neil. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I'll go opposed.
All those abstaining? So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 6, 0, 1. Matt, thank you very much. I
Thank you
do
very much.
appreciate the effort that you've made.
Thank you, have a good night.
Yes, you too, sir.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. Next up. I have to do the continuance. All right. Next up is the John O'Neill and Tinker Road.
Read it into the agenda, read it into the record, and then take a motion to continue.
Understood. John O'Neill and Tinker Road LLC, review for acceptance and consideration of it.
Folks, we've still got a meeting going on here. Would you take the conversation into the hall?
Please. Please and thank you, everybody. All right, review for acceptance and consideration of a 23-lot cluster subdivision. The parcel is located on 19 Tinker Road in the R4 Residential Bioswales and Aquifer Conservation Districts. Tax map 2C Lot 19 and 19-1, and tax map 2B Lot 293-14-2, Case Planning Board PB 2025-17. The item is continued from June 17th, 2025, and the applicant has requested a continuance. Is there a motion? Motion made by John. Is there a second?
Second.
Please put
Seconded
the
by-
date in that motion.
Oh, motion, and it's extended to August 19th with no further notice to abutters. All right. Motion was made by John and seconded by Karen. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All those abstaining? Carries 700. All right. Next up is the 376 DW Car Wash LLC and Starton Realty, review for acceptance and consideration of a site plan to improve an existing car wash, including site layout, landscaping, lighting, signage, and building facade improvements to include 12 new vacuum stations, 3 queue lines, and a bypass drive aisle around the building. The parcel is located at 376 Daniel Webster Highway in the C2 General Commercial Aquifer Conservation and Elderly Housing Overlay Districts, Tax Map 4D-3 Lot 2, Case Planning Board 2025-19. The item has requested to continue until 8:15. Is there a motion to continue?
8:05.
Oh, Amanda.
8:05.
8:05, yeah.
You had said 15, sorry.
I'm sorry. My apologies. 8:05, not 8:15.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Motion.
Second.
Oh, John won. All right, the motion is made by Neil and seconded by John. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
With no further notice to abutters. This is a bad habit. All right, all those in favor say aye once more, please.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, 700. All right, next. 8 Depot Street LLC, review for acceptance and consideration of a waiver of full site plan review to convert an existing single-family home into a 4-unit multi-family dwelling. The parcel is located at 8 Depot Street in the R4 Residential Biswells, Aquifer Conservation, and Elderly Housing Overlay Districts, and the Wellhead Protection Area, Tax Map 6E-1, Lot 58, and Tax Map 6E-1, Lot 58-1, Case Planning Board 2025-21. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
So for the record, Sam Foisey with Meridian Land Services, representing this application for waiver of full site plan review, case number 2025-21. To my left here, I have Keith, who is the owner and the applicant of this application of 8 Depot Street LLC. Let's see here. So the property is located at 8 Depot Street. It's also described as tax map 6E1, lots 58 and 58-1. Lot 58 is approximately 6.2 acres, and lot 58-1 is approximately 0.154 acres, bringing the total to just above 0.77 acres. With a total of frontage of 151 feet. As you stated before, it is subject to the residential zoning in the Wellhead Protection District, hence we've been before the Conservation Commission last month. The owners are looking to refurbish the existing single-family structure into a 4-unit residential structure. At this present time, it's expected to be rentals. However, they may be back before you at a later date to further subdivide it into a condominium. The units will be comprised of 2 bedrooms and 2 3-bedrooms, with unit sizes ranging from about 1,100 square feet to 1,600 square feet. You could probably guess that the sub 1 acre lot does not support the four units based on the underlying zoning district. However, they have already received a variance to allow for the 4 units, the single-family dwelling, to be converted to 4 residential units, referenced as case number ZBA 2025-11. In addition to the interior work, there will be some exterior work to support the additional dwelling units, really with the focus on parking. So before you is the existing conditions plan. Let me zoom in a little bit just so it's a little more obvious. The existing site is a vacant, single-family structure. It looks a little run down. It definitely is in need of some TLC, which the applicant is willing to do. It is well vegetated with some large oak trees or maple trees in the front there. These two maple trees actually really constrict the driveway here, where the driveway is probably sub 10 feet, and when you try and fit between those two maple trees, it is a tight fit, and you do have to make sure you watch your mirrors. They have since been removed because of that, which will be represented on the final proposed plan. Additionally, the site is accessed from Depot Lane. It does loop through the adjacent property. We believe that's because of, originally this was the headmaster's house, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, to the school that is located on the as one of the abutters on the page. So it is accessed from Depot Road, and it does connect through, which we will be severing this connection, so they will no longer be connected for vehicle access. So moving on to the proposed plan. Pretty minimal. The reason why we're requesting this site plan waiver of site plan review is the site has pretty minimal amount of site work, mostly widening that driveway to 18 feet to allow for better access for a multifamily structure, a multifamily lot. Also, the addition of some parking spaces. While there's several parking spaces there before, it wouldn't have supported 4 units. So we have proposed 11 parking spaces where 9 are required. 2 of those internal to the existing garage. When it comes to stormwater, we are actually below the requirements of requiring a stormwater plan, that being a total disturbance of 20,000 square feet. When the lots are about 3/4 of an acre, disturbing 20,000 square feet is quite difficult. Originally, we had a proposed swale to collect and convey any additional runoff created by the additional impervious area, and convey it to the existing stormwater conveyance feature, this catch basin located in Depot Street. However, after a site inspection and confirming that there already is, the existing topography already conveys this water to this catch basin, and then with conversations with Leo and DPW, we feel that this additional disturbance really won't provide a benefit to the site. It's just going to disturb the already well-established lawn area and further cause complications with trying to get it to pitch where it meets the swale. So the existing yard already is suitable to it. So the plan that staff will see next, once we address all of staff and department comments, will have this swale removed, but just as a kind of point of clarification. To kind of put in context of why this minimal improvements really does not require any additional stormwater improvements. The net increase of impervious area is roughly 1,200 square feet. It's approximately 6 parking spaces, which is pretty minimal when you compare it to the overall watershed that eventually goes into the town stormwater conveyance features. And again, with conversations with Leo and DPW, while third-party review has requested further analysis in the form of hydrocad modeling, he does not feel that that's justified given the small increases of runoff that would be generated from this project. Lastly, utilities. We originally expected that we would be able to utilize the existing sewer service, which we are in the process of getting TV'd and inspected per the wastewater department's comments. If that inspection comes back and it's not adequate in condition or in size, we will be forced to improve that sewer service, but until we know, we aren't showing on the plans. However, we will show it on the plans if that becomes the case. Also, originally, we were not expecting to need an additional connection for water. we were hopeful to use the existing water service. With conversations with the building department, they feel that this will require a fire suppression system, which the existing service will not be adequate to provide those flows to the building. Hence, we'll need to connect to the to the water line, which they describe it to be on the opposite side of the street here. So there will be some additional plan work that needs to occur, demonstrating the trenching for that water connection. We're in the process of coordinating the flowing of those hydrants to determine the flow within that water main, and then also designing the fire suppression system so that we can size the service appropriately. Yep. Fire suppression. Okay. Okay. It sounds like we need to further work that out with the fire chief of whether or not the fire suppression is needed. If it's not needed, we will. It obviously won't be shown on the plans. If it is needed, we will show it on the plans. With that, there really are no town department comments, town third-party review comments that we disagree with, and we would accept the conditional waiver of site plan review pending that we work out any comments with town staff or town departments.
Thank you very much, sir. Amanda, is there anything you want to add to this?
No, there's nothing we would like to add.
Thank you very much. All right. Board? Nelson?
Yeah, I'm a little confused because I remembered this plan looking quite a bit different in the last time. Is it me, or did they actually change this?
No, Nelson,
You
this
might-
is a different,
Oh,
this
this is
is
8.
8 Depot Street.
That might have been the one across the street.
Thank you.
Same road, different house.
We just heard 5 Depot recently, so.
Yes.
That's what, looking at this isn't what we saw before.
That might have been the inspiration.
Yeah. Pete, did you have a comment or a question, sir?
Okay, regarding each of the bedrooms, are these one-bedroom units, or are they?
I actually have the architectural plans, which they did do some renderings of what they would like it to look like. Again, if you're out there, anything would be a benefit. These plans before you are, and actually I'll probably go to the unit sheet. I think it starts on sheet 8, bear with me. Or maybe it's 9. There we go. So here is unit 1, which is the smallest of the units. You can see that it has 2 bedrooms located in it. And then unit 2 has 3 bedrooms with 2 over here, and then I would assume that this is the master. Unit 3 is actually located on 2 separate floors, where it has a bedroom on the second floor, and then 2 bedrooms located on the 3rd floor of the house. And then unit 4 has 2 bedrooms.
So, one of the things about this neighborhood, as Nelson raised about 5 Depot Street, is this is a historical neighborhood basically for Merrimack. A lot of history, a lot of old homes, as you can see. A lot of people worked at the factory, the furniture factory, 100 years ago. But a lot of people in that area are concerned with the maintenance of the property. From the pictures you showed me, it looks like it's going to be a nice structure. And I think it's key, and a lot of folks, and I agree with them in that area, that not only the building itself is aesthetically pleasing, but the grounds. That there's a commitment to taking care of the grounds and the outside of the facility, because a lot of people, most of the people do in that neighborhood. So, as long as we can be a good neighbor and get a good promise, that would make me feel a lot more comfortable about that. So. But those were just the concerns I had. Oh, lighting, exterior lighting. That became an issue over at 5 Depot, and I think it's a good question to ask is, how do you plan to do any outdoor lighting?
Right now, I believe the plan was all for building mounted lighting with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 8-foot pole mounted lights. We can provide a lighting plan to town staff demonstrating that those are dark sky compliant and shielded. If you'd like.
You know, if they could be, like, the gentleman who's developing 5 Depot used under the, what do you call it, recessed lighting on the porch to
stairway.
keep the
Yeah.
less light pollution. If you guys could look at something like that, and something that, one, gives you illumination in your parking lot or driveway, but isn't kind of blaring out to the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah,
So,
we can commit to that.
yeah.
Could you go back to the, sorry, could you go back to the main print? of
The site plan?
Site plan,
Yeah.
please. You had said that the, it used to go to the school, the driveway. That'll be eliminated. Will there be another fence put in or anything like that?
I don't believe so. Right now, there's a split rail fence,
Will that be staying?
and I think it might be on the abutting property, though.
Yeah, the Historic Society said they wanted to continue the fence.
Okay.
I think they believe they want to do that.
Thank you.
It's their fence.
I have a question. On this screen, can you point out the 11 parking spaces?
Good. That was my next question.
Yeah, so there's 6 here, and then 3 brings us to 9, and then 2 in the garage brings us to 11.
Existing garage.
In the garage. Oh.
Do you have anywhere you're going to place snow on this plan?
I don't have it shown specifically on this plan, but I can place it on there. There's plenty of room down in this area or in this area, which does right now sheet as it would melt to the existing culvert or catch
Okay.
basin.
And do you have, like you mentioned the culvert, do you have any drainage plan or anything like that?
We do not. We just originally had this swale as part of the grading plan.
Okay.
And then again, from conversations with DPW and site inspections, I find it to be more of a nuisance to create the swale than to just let the natural topography take it over there.
Okay. Are there any other questions up front? No. Board, we are first charged with accepting the application. So moved? Or is that a comment or a question?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Amanda. Nope, that's 100%.
I guess I'm just sitting here thinking I'd be remiss, especially after the last hearing we had, if we couldn't get a commitment from the developer that the work hours would be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., no earlier than 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You know, I get it that painting inside isn't gonna cause a problem, things like that, but if there's roofing or work to be done outside that might cause noise, that you would agree to go 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
I think I'll have to fight it like Matt did a little bit,
I'm
but
sorry?
we agree.
All right, well,
Yeah.
first, we have to address just accepting the plan, and then Pete, we can cross that Rubicon. Is there a motion to accept the plan?
So
To
moved.
accept the application. So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, motion made by Pete, seconded by Karen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? You're abstaining? All right, so that's 601. All right, and then the last piece is, and it's almost one and the same, and Pete, you can bring up your request is a waiver of full site plan review, and then lastly, conditional final approval, or conditional approval. But you brought up your note about work hours, so what are your thoughts on that? I can agree with Pete, like painting and interior work, but if it requires swinging a hammer or running a jackhammer or a machine, I would feel terrible if we had to hold Matt to it and we then just gave you carte blanche.
We can agree to that. If I were Matt, I probably would have asked till 6 p.m., but given that Matt already agreed to 7 to 5, we'd be fine with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other comments? No concerns, okay. So then, board, we are now charged with granting. Oh, yeah.
Public comment?
Guys, I'm going to open up for public comment.
Would you like us to?
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to open up public comment. Is there anybody that'd like to speak to the project? All right, I'm going to close the public comment. Come back, gentlemen. All right. With that said, there is a full site plan waiver request and a conditional final approval. Is there a motion?
All right, so let's see. Full site plan. Anybody? I'll make a motion. Yeah, I make a motion to find that with the granted waiver of full site plan review and proposed conditions of approval, the application meets all applicable regulatory requirements necessary.
Neil?
What?
That's the approval motion. First, we would need to grant the waiver of full site plan review.
My apologies.
And Neil, just to touch on it, it has to either be due to hardship or strict conformity. It follows the spirit.
Gotcha. I'm jumping ahead.
One of these things I'll get it.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we accept the waiver. That we accept the waiver of full site plan review, as strict conformity would pose an unnecessary hardship to the applicant, and the waiver would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulation.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion made by Neil and seconded by Nelson. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All those abstaining? John? All right, that is 601. All right, and now, conditional final approval is on the table. Last page, ladies and gentlemen. Is there a motion?
I can do that one.
All right, Justin. Is this your first one?
It is.
Excellent, my man. All right, motion made by Justin.
Make a motion to find that with this granted waiver of full site plan review and proposed conditions of approval, the application meets all applicable regulatory requirements necessary, and further to grant conditional final approval to the application subject to the recommended conditions of approval presented in the staff memo dated July 11th, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, motion made by Justin, seconded by Karen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? 601. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time. I know, we're getting a pile. All right, next on the docket is Mast Road LLC applicant owner review for acceptance and consideration of a site plan to construct a 19,200 square foot contractor's building along with associated site improvements. The parcel is located at the 8 Crow's Nest Circle in the industrial I-1 and Aquifer Conservation Districts. Tax map 2D, lot 21-2, case planning board 2025-22, and it is request to continue to August 19th with no further notice to abutters. Is there a motion? John made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Nelson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? 700. All right, and the last piece is Merrimack Premium Outlets LLC applicant owner. Conceptual discussion regarding a proposal to develop a portion of a property for multifamily residential units. The parcel is located at 80-1 Premium Outlets Boulevard in the I-2 Industrial and Aquifer Conservation Districts and the Wellhead Protection Area. Tax map 3C, lot 191-1, case planning board 2025-20. Good evening, Gordon. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you,
Excellent.
Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Gordon Leedy, and I am a landscape architect and certified planner with Ty and Bond representing Merrimack Premium Outlets LLC. I see some new faces, and I see some old faces.
We knew you were coming.
So we are here this evening to kind of review an upcoming action that the owners of the outlet center would like to pursue. What is on the screen is what was built. So this is what's out there today. It is approximately 459,000 square feet of outlet retail. There are 3,082 parking spaces, and that adds up to about 6.71 per thousand, which is well beyond what was what's required by the town. This was always set up and was actually approved back in whenever it was, 2008, 2009, as a phased improvement. So the actual approved plan had an additional 100,000 square feet in this northerly corner of the site. So that currently is parking, and it was going to be the site of an additional 120,000 plus or minus square feet. And in order to recapture the parking for that area, we were proposing to do a parking deck down in this northeasterly corner of the site. That's the area that's currently sort of grassed, and there's some temporary parking down in there in that corner. The long and and this was 558,000 square feet approximately, with 3,000 parking spaces, which added up to a grand total of 5.5 per thousand. That's what we thought would be the ultimate result of development of the site. As you know, there's a lot of water over the dam that's occurred since 2008 and the approval of this. And Simon Property Group, which is the ultimate owner of the site, doesn't wish to construct an additional 120,000 square feet of retail. This was approved under the Outlet Village Shops overlay district. So it's in the I-2 district underlaying, and it was approved using the first kind of multi-use or overlay district that was approved by the town. And that zoning allows outlet shops, and it allows ancillary uses like banks and restaurants and so forth, and any other use that would be allowed in the underlying zone. So where we are is we would like to, instead of doing the retail, do an additional number of residential units in that corner where the deck was to take place. So this particular plan shows in that corner where the parking deck was to occur, 230 units of apartments on a deck over parking. So there would be additional parking underneath this, and I'll show you a plan in a moment. This site, interestingly, was all set up to accommodate this level of development in this location. So the impervious area of the site isn't going to change appreciably from what was previously approved. There would be additional sewage capacity required. The water is, we think, going to be within the previously approved limits in terms of, there was an overall agreement that for this site and for the Merrimack Park Place site, there was a cap on the amount of water that Merrimack Village District was going to provide. We believe that this will fall under that cap, so we're okay there. We've looked at some traffic considerations, and we believe that actually this is going to be less traffic on the critical hours that we think of, which are PM peak and Saturday midday peak, than if we were to build another 120,000 square feet of retail. And that also takes into account the fact that, you know, there's a project currently approved down at the bottom of the hill, and takes that all into account as well. We haven't done a thorough traffic study, but we've done enough of analysis to understand that we believe that this is workable. This particular plan shows the existing 459,000 square feet of retail with 2,839 spaces dedicated to that retail, which is 6.18, which is somewhat lower than what's existing out there today, but still above what was originally approved, with 230 units parked at 1.82, which is pretty much within what we're seeing as adequate demand. And obviously, it's a big site. There's an ability to share parking both ways, actually. So in peak periods, when the outlets are really busy, then there's some excess parking that would be available to them. And likewise, if there's a need for additional parking, if some, I don't know, 100-year party happens or whatever on the residential side, that would be available to the residences as well. So this is a blow up of that. This is the lower level parking deck. So this would be underneath the residential units with access from the ring road. This is 242 structured spaces, and there's multiple entries and exits, and the elevators line up with the buildings. And then there would be essentially 2 bays of parking that would be associated with this residential development, which is how we get to the overall 418 units, or 418 parking spaces. This would be, what we're showing here is a 5-story building that would be in two separate structures, again, all on structural deck. These would have fantastic views.
what?
Fantastic views.
Oh.
And as I said, the infrastructure impact of this is really no different than if we were to continue building retail. Interestingly, the preliminary fiscal report indicates that this would create more tax revenue for the town rather than less on a net basis than the retail would. So, and we're showing an amenity deck looking east across the Merrimack that would be available to all the residents, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. Now, what we are planning to do is, we understand that residential is not allowed in the Outlet Village Shops district. The fact is that additional retail is not going to happen here. And so the owner of the property is trying to figure out something that's productive both for the town and for themselves in order to pursue final development of the property. We are planning to go to the ZBA and seek a variance for residential use in the Outlet Village Shops district, which would then require an amended conditional use permit and then site plan. So we thought we would come here and say, and just give you guys a heads up, because I don't want anybody to be blindsided by this. We've worked together way too long for that to happen. So I would entertain any questions or comments. And John, I know that there was something in the staff report regarding fire suppression. we understand that there's an issue there, and we're confident that we can get that worked out. So,
Before I open it, I just want to ask staff if they had any questions.
We're good.
Thank you.
I have a question. So that Slade apartment, is that the outlets also?
no.
Oh, no, that's completely
That's separate,
separate?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that answers my question then. I was wondering if this was going to look like it, but it's completely
We
different.
we haven't gotten that far.
Okay, okay.
But
Nelson, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing we should give some thought to before you go too far is not only the view from here, which I agree would be great, but the view from the butting to the east or the north.
right.
That turned out to be a little problem when we first opened the outlet mall. We had lighting.
There were problems with the light
Yeah.
fixtures. Yes.
Just bear that in mind, because those are the people that are going to see this and look at
Yep.
it. And they're looking at woods and trees now, and
Well, they're looking at the top of a slope right now, in fairness. I mean, they would be looking at more parking, essentially.
yeah. Okay, just bear it.
But
in
I
mind.
understand your point.
The point is, yeah, watch out for that and do what you can to
Yes.
screen it.
So, Gordon, I guess one of the things we hear from the people in town are, we have enough apartments, okay? I'm seeing Slate's got another slot for buildings. We're seeing all of these places that want to expand. Recently, up in the north end of town, sort of the same conceptual approach. I know this is conceptual, but I guess I don't see it, and I see a concern in the future, if we open this door, that could more be coming down the road, whether it's on this site or whether it's on another site for another party.
I understand your concern. I guess I would point to two things. One is that Slate, for what it's worth, is 96% occupied at like pretty shocking rents as far as as far as I'm concerned. So there clearly is a market for housing, and we haven't gotten to any questions of affordability. I mean, I think that that's something that is on the table, but subject to like a lot more discussion. But the reality is that mall owners in particular, well, there's two pieces of it. One is that mall owners in particular are looking for non-retail things to do with their sites to drive basically additional customers to their sites, but also to make the sites financially worthwhile, because retail is not what it used to be. And so you see, like down at Pheasant Lane, they've done a casino and I'm not suggesting the casino would be by any means a good idea here. But there's all kinds of different avenues that are being explored because of the changes in the market.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that the reason that you're seeing a lot of apartments is that there is a significant market for them. That's what I would say.
Yeah, so now.
And if there is no burden on, or little burden on the town with regard to infrastructure or with regard to school population, I mean, I think that there are very few children in Slate, for example. There are very few children in the
Gilbert.
the exit 10 or whatever, up by Continental Boulevard. There are, where the Sheraton used to be.
We have sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay.
But, I do think there's an impact. I'm not doubting what you're saying about Slate. There may not be a lot of children, but what I've seen is, like, we've had apartment complexes built here before, and originally, they're the hot, trendy place. And then they lose interest. And then we make them, families come in. And there's nothing wrong with families, but that's where the services get pressed.
Right.
The thing I'm wondering about this building is, are these proposed to be rental units, or are they going to be?
These would be rental. These would be rental.
They'll be rental.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as a big tax impact as far as assisting the town in that way.
Well, I mean, if you do the numbers, the square footage, assessed value of residential is higher than the square footage assessed value of real estate, of retail. And the demands with regard to police and fire, I mean, we're working through those numbers in detail now, but the demand is actually less for retail than it is or less for residential than it is for retail. So, I mean, I'm not suggesting that there's zero impact. I'm just saying that given the alternatives, I mean, it's actually I think a pretty reasonable deal for the town. I mean, because where's the town's interest in terms of saying there are too many apartments if that's where the market is, and as long as the impacts are known and quantified and are reasonable.
Well, I think
I mean, from a zoning, I'm just speaking as a planner, from a zoning standpoint. I mean, that's why we have zoning, is to ensure the public health, safety, and welfare, right?
I mean, you solicited comments, so this is conceptual. I am curious to see how this develops, and I thought I'd put my 2 cents in from the cheap seats and just go from there.
No.
Thank you, Pete.
You've always been reasonable.
I appreciate it.
Len, did you have something?
I would love to have you consider some portion of these units become workforce housing.
I agree with
Yep.
that.
I mean, that's something
That's what we need
that's something
in
we've
town.
talked about. I don't know. The only reason I'm hedging, Lynn, is that that's a very, very complex question.
Oh, I know.
So, we'll
I just want you to
we'll do
consider
what we
it.
can. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you'd get more favor with that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Is there anything else? Anyone? Is there a public?
The applicant asked for public to be notified, so you can ask for public comment, but
Okay.
under normal circumstances, no.
Yes, please. If you don't mind, Gordon, if you could
Okay.
please, thank you, sir.
Yep.
If you don't mind coming up or use the microphone in the back, introduce yourself, and please tell us your thoughts.
I have to lower this because I'm short.
That's okay.
Hi, I'm Adriana Hensley. I live at Whittier Road, Whittier Place, so I'm directly behind the outlets. I know you made a comment that we can't see the outlets. That's false. It looks like a flying saucer in the middle of winter. There's a lot of light pollution as well. Light comes into my bathroom, my bedrooms, so there's already concerns with what exists there and that storefront. Now you're talking about a 5-floor residential building with 200 units. That's concerning for residents in our area. I'm also very concerned about the possible effects on traffic. We've seen the traffic increase tremendously in our area between exit 10 and 11 with all of the buildings that are going up. I moved here 10 years ago to get out of Boston, out of the city, and now I'm being surrounded by apartment buildings. It once took me 2 minutes to get from my driveway to the exit 11 on-ramp. It can take me 20 minutes at 5 o'clock. So traffic is a concern, and I do think there should be some kind of report done for that.
I think some of the major concerns are obviously you said
Miss,
this is gonna-
if you don't mind, could you introduce yourself, please, and
Oh,
thank you.
sure. I'm so sorry. Attorney Crystal Maldonado. would be representing Whittier Place.
Thank you.
So some of the questions, concerns from the Hensley family and some of the other residents there are, which is, again, we're just information gathering at this time, as obviously this is just, trying to get information, right? So we're just finding out this would be 5 floors, right, over 230 units. So first, of course, we've heard about traffic all night tonight, the traffic on their road alone, like how that would impact that road. And then, of course, the lighting issue. So right now, especially in the winter, when all the leaves have fallen, there's already, right now, as you know, that's all parking, right? And so if you look to the right, that's actually where Whittier Road falls. So Miss Hensley's home would be like kind of in the upper right quadrant of that picture, in the middle, right about the middle. Yeah. And you might actually be able to bring it up better than she can. And so first concern would be the lights. Again, right now there's already so many lights, especially in the winter, coming through. I think you're going to maybe need to address those residents, especially on that street. How can you mitigate that risk, I think would be our questions and concerns. What types of things can you do for those residents, whether that be, different types of, coverings for the windows. Miss Hensley, for example, had just removed about 45, and correct me if I'm wrong, 45 to 50 pine trees from her backyard in that whole area, not realizing that this would happen. And those pine trees were really, really tall. And so, of course, she gets notice of this and goes, oh my gosh, we just removed 50 pine trees. And now we're going to be able to see everything. Never mind in the winter. I mean, you could see it in the summer still, but definitely obviously in the winter. So what would be happening to mitigate, especially 5 floors up? I mean, you're not talking about, a 2-floor or 3-floor apartment complex. You're talking about 5 floors. What about the balcony? And then you're also talking about they're in a very quiet neighborhood. There's generally no noise except for the in the summers and like holidays and things. It gets busy with the roads, but generally there's no noise there because that's all parking right now. Now you're talking about, I believe you stated 230 units. Is that correct? That's 230 families. That is presumably going to be a lot of noise. I don't know. I would presume 230 units is going to produce a lot of noise. And then in addition to that, you stated that there'd be some sort of decking, I believe amenity deck, that would be, again, kind of on this neighborhood, that amenity deck. So we're talking about what would that do to the neighborhood also. And then what type of housing is it? Is it rental housing? Is it low-income housing? How is that going to affect the security of these homes too? What can we do to mitigate the security risks of now you went from having absolutely no one behind you, right? Some shops that are open 9 to 5, and then they're closed, and then there's just parking lots, to now 230 units of families. And I mean, at least I know her home and the neighbors' homes, none of them have any fencing because it was always abutted to, the power lines and just the forest. So would there be any discussion with this community in regards to possibly installing fencing or some sort of mitigation of that?
I have some additional question.
We have a long road ahead of you. Yes, but just some
Well,
things to bring to
I just
your
paid off
attention.
my house, so I plan on being in Merrimack for a while, so this is obviously shocking. With this being residential now in the back of the outlets, what kind of traffic pattern is there going to be? I mean, I can speak from, like, with the holidays and stuff that, the outlets are absurd, but other than that, there's really no traffic around that area?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm just curious how residents are even going to get to the back of outlets. I can't imagine during the holidays how they're going to even get out of their apartments. So I'm curious to know if there's new roadways being put in to give them access, but happy to speak separately.
Just all different things to think about. Thank you.
And one more question.
Yeah?
Are there other considerations to use that space? I mean, with all of the apartment buildings now being put, especially in this area, there's not enough restaurants. Restaurants are overflowing. Wouldn't it be nice to have restaurants there where all the residents can have
Or
somewhere
a
to eat?
convention center.
You knew that was coming.
You know, like, there's so many new residents
Gordon,
in
here's your
Merrimack.
chance to put a Cheesecake Factory in.
Seconded.
I was thinking Capitol Grill, but.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that has any comments, questions? All right, with that said, I'll close the public hearing.
So, Robert, do you want me to leave this on this computer? Want me to copy this presentation to this computer?
Yeah, that way at least I can grab it.
Okay.
Board, does everybody have any other questions? No? Gordon,
Gordon,
oh,
you
yeah.
said a 5-story. Are you talking 5-story plus the garage or including?
5-story above the parking lot.
Okay.
And would the parking lot be at the current grade that it is?
Yeah.
And then the first level?
Yes, the first level would be where the parking is for the mall.
Gotcha.
I can figure out how to copy this. Oh, I can't.
Oh, they won't let you.
That won't let me.
You can shoot me an email then.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Gordon, I just want to tell you thank you very much.
Oh,
On a personal
absolutely.
note, I always appreciate when a developer comes and up front and just says, hey, this is what we're thinking about. I want everybody's opinion. I
Been
think
working
that,
on this site for 20 years.
that
so
speaks
I-
volumes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Next item on the agenda. The minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Planning and zoning.
No. I heard minutes. Merrimack, oh, my apologies. Planning and zoning administrators report, discussion, possible actions regarding other items of concern. Amanda.
We don't have anything of importance right now, although I know Casey updates you on administrative approvals. I believe there have been 2 ADUs approved, attached ADUs, which don't go through the planning board, approved since our last meeting, and that I think is it.
Thank you very much. Fantastic, all right, and now on to the minutes. Approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Is there a second?
Second?
I didn't catch that one.
Second.
Oh, Pete, all right. Motion made by John and seconded by Pete. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed and all those abstaining.
Aye.
All right, 6-0-1. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Did we get the report from the staff?
Am I missing? Yeah.
Oh, I
They
didn't.
approved 2, was it 2 ADUs?
Oh, the-
2
that-
ADUs.
2 attached ADUs specifically, because the detached ones would come through you guys.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry, missed it.
No
No, it's
worries.
okay, Nelson. Sorry, it's probably me being a little clunky. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by John and seconded by Nelson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed and all those abstaining, 7-0-0. Thank you, everyone.